John and his best friend Mark had been friends since they were kids. They did everything together, from playing video games to going on camping trips. One day, they decided to go on a camping trip in the woods, just the two of them. They found a great spot by a lake and set up camp. They spent the day fishing and hiking, and when night fell, they sat by the fire and talked about everything and nothing. John noticed that Mark seemed a bit off, but he didn't think too much of it. As they were getting ready to go to bed, John noticed that Mark had a strange look in his eyes. They were glazed over, and he seemed to be staring off into space. John asked him if he was okay, but Mark just nodded and went to his tent. In the middle of the night, John woke up to a strange noise. It sounded like someone was walking around the campsite, but when he looked outside, he didn't see anyone. He shrugged it off and went back to sleep. The next morning, John woke up to find that Mark was gone. He searched the campsite but couldn't find him. He called out his name, but there was no response. Just as he was about to panic, he saw Mark walking towards him. But something was different about Mark. His eyes were even more glazed over than before, and he was walking with a strange gait. John asked him what was wrong, but Mark didn't answer. He just kept walking towards him. Suddenly, Mark lunged at John with his arms outstretched. John stumbled backward and fell to the ground. As he looked up, he saw that Mark's face had transformed into a hideous mask with eyes that were now completely white. John realized with horror that his best friend had turned into a zombie. He tried to run, but Mark was too fast. John could hear his best friend's labored breathing behind him as he raced towards the cliff edge. John's heart was pounding as he reached the edge of the cliff. He turned around just in time to see Mark leap towards him, arms outstretched. John screamed as he felt himself falling backward into the abyss, knowing that Mark had finally claimed him as his latest victim. The last thing John heard was Mark's guttural snarl as he plummeted to his death. John's body was never found, and no one ever knew what had happened to him or his best friend. But some say that if you listen closely on quiet nights, you can still hear the echoes of their screams, haunting the woods forevermore.